I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:31. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we'll go straight to roll call.
Councilmember Bransky,
Present, City Hall.
Councilmember Blanky,
Present.
Mayor Carnegie, Councilmember Kulka,
Here.
Councilmember Lesich,
Here.
Councilmember Shornick,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Winawiki.
Present.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I'd like to make a motion to excuse Mayor Carnegie from the meeting tonight.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty. We're going to go on to approval of the agenda, but I would like to make one small adjustment in under 7 before A. We have 2 proclamations to present, and we just won't have a letter behind that. It'll just say number 7. With that adjustment to the agenda, are there any other?
So you're just moving that up to A and moving everything else down?
Well, there's 2 that are in addition to what's on the agenda.
Okay, so A and B and moving everything down?
We're just not going to name them A and B. We're just going to call it 7,
Oh,
and
okay,
then A and B will then follow.
okay.
Okay.
Second.
Yeah, second.
So then the other two, the other ones, the Habitat for Humanity and Linden Construction will all follow down?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Could I ask that we do the proclamations for the Habitat for Humanity in Linden first? They're more important than whatever else you're going to do, so.
Wow, that's awfully telling.
We have to vote.
That's fine. I don't.
I just,
However you're feeling.
Okay, there's a motion and a second.
Yeah,
We
there's
have
a
a
motion.
motion and a second.
Yeah. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
aye.
Any opposed?
No. Me.
All righty.
Opposed? I
Oh.
wanted to do it how
Oh,
you
because,
wanted.
okay.
I don't care what order they're in. I thought that was.
It's going to all be quick. You're good.
Okay, as long as it's quick.
Go with God, Crispy.
Okay, so we'll move on to citizen participation on agenda items. And any residents, either on Zoom or in person, who have any comments with regard to the agenda items only. We have none in the audience, none on Zoom. All righty. And we'll go to the consent agenda. Anyone? Councilwoman Blanky?
I'd like to make a motion to accept and file the consent agenda.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Go on to the new business proclamations, number 7. And I get the honor to present these. This is a certificate of appreciation to Suzanne Kalka. Whereas Ms. Kalka, a resident of the City of Fraser since 2011 and a member of Fraser City Council for the past 4 years, and whereas Suzanne Kalka has been an instrumental member of the Fraser City Council and with steady resolve served as an agent of change and stability for a community striving for integrity and dignity within its governance through challenging transitions and long-term financial planning within the community. And whereas Suzanne Kalka, with passion and dedication, has strived to promote transparency and fiscal accountability within all departments of the City of Fraser. And whereas Suzanne Kalka has supported and championed the activities of the entire community with the schools, parks, and neighborhoods. And whereas Suzanne Kalka has led efforts to build a better community and quality of life by improving business district relations, improving our parks, and creating road improvements opportunities to benefit all who live and work in the City of Fraser. Now therefore be it resolved, and this is I, Michael Carnegie, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor for the city of Fraser and on behalf of the entire city council and all our citizens, do hereby extend this certificate of appreciation to Suzanne Kalka for distinguished service to the community. Given under my hand this 9th day of November 2021, Mayor Michael Carnegie.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And the second one is a certificate of appreciation for Michael Lesich. Whereas Mr. Michael Lesich is a resident of the city of Fraser since 1999 and a vocal advocate for the city and county of Macomb. And whereas during such time, Michael Lesich served as an ambassador and stalwart defender for continued development by building a better community and quality of life for all who live and work in the city of Fraser. And whereas Michael Lesich has dedicated his time and spirit to the life of public service in support of countless events and causes, including the Fraser First Booster Club, serving as board member and recording secretary in the development and building of the McKinley Barrier-Free Park and Playground, designed for the enjoyment and enrichment of people of all abilities. And whereas Michael Lesich has been an instrumental member of the Fraser City Council and with steady resolve served as an agent of change and stability for a community striving for integrity and dignity within its governance through challenging transitions and long-term financial planning within the community. Now therefore be it resolved, I, Michael Carnegie, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor for the city of Fraser and on behalf of the entire city council and all our citizens, do hereby extend this certificate of appreciation to Michael Lesich for his distinguished service to the community. Given under my hand on this 9th day of November 2021, Mayor Michael Carnegie, City of Fraser.
Very nice plaque. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now we'll move on to 7A, and it's a proclamation that Mr. Lesich will be presenting.
Good evening. Recently, we completed the Fraser First Booster Club in conjunction with the City of Fraser, and some great volunteers completed the sensory garden that we've been working on and was a little delayed due to COVID. I am proud tonight to recognize two groups. First of all, the Habitat for Humanity Women Build, or Habitat, they corrected me, Habitat for Humanity Macomb Women Build. Could you come up, please? And what these, is mine working? Okay. Sure. There we go. All right. So what happened here is we,
No, that way. Camera.
Tamara?
why don't I step down there?
Yeah, that'd be a good plan.
That's okay. So if you haven't been to McKinley Park lately, they finished the sensory garden and raised accessible planting beds. These beds are designed to accommodate wheelchairs and people with special needs, so they can come up and plant and tend to the garden. These women, oh boy, I forgot your names. We have Deb McKinley, no relation, she tells me, Barb King, Maureen Humphreys, and Vicki Van Baselers. Okay, I practiced that. And what they did is they came out to the park and they spent several days working with a design and figuring out how to make it work, and came up with these phenomenal raised planting beds. So I would like to read this certificate of appreciation from the City of Fraser. This certificate of appreciation is presented by the City of Fraser to Habitat for Humanity Macomb Women Build. Utilizing their experience in building homes and other volunteer projects throughout Macomb County, members of Habitat for Humanity Macomb Women Build completed the McKinley Barrier-Free Sensory Garden raised planting beds. Now completed, the sensory garden will serve as a place of quiet contemplation, sensory experiences, and a place of enjoyment for people of all abilities in our communities. The volunteers of Women Build continue to exemplify the true spirit of giving back to their communities through action and deed. Thank you for your contributions to Fraser and McKinley Barrier-Free Park. Presented to Habitat for Humanity, Macomb, Women Build, by Michael Carnegie, Mayor of Fraser, and the Fraser City Council on behalf of a grateful community.
Mayor Pro Tem, did you want to get in the photo?
Why don't you guys stand up?
No.
You're still taller than us, even with the platform. What are you talking about?
Well, you know
Thank
you're
you.
taller than me, right?
Yeah, there you go. That's fun. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Yes.
If you want more
Thank you.
if you want to build
Thank you.
more, you can volunteer at my house because my dogs destroy my flowers. So
They're
that's
like,
what
"No, we're
that's,
out."
that's actually what I asked my kids for Christmas.
Sleeve, too.
Yeah, it's kind of like childbirth, right?
That's what I did, seriously.
We have one more Hello? Okay. We have one more presentation tonight. Steve Lindenbaum and Linden Construction is a well-known construction company in this area. They do a lot of cement work. We were having issues finding a vendor or a construction company that would do the small project of putting down the cement, concrete, what do you call it? I can't think of the word. The pad, thank you. The concrete pads for this project. And we reached out to call Steve and see if he would be available to do it. He volunteered time, materials, and his own expertise to put these pads, thank you, into place. So they couldn't be here tonight. Steve is, once again, he's a hardworking guy. He's out working tonight, and his wife and son could not be here. So I'd like to read this certificate of appreciation is presented by the City of Fraser to Steve and Tracy Lindenbaum and their team at Linden Construction. Their generous donation of time, labor, and materials to build the foundation for the raised accessible planting beds to complete the McKinley Barrier-Free Park Sensory Garden was instrumental to completing this project. Now completed, the Sensory Garden will serve as a place of quiet contemplation, sensory experiences, and a place of enjoyment for people of all abilities in our community. Steve and Tracy represent the true spirit of small business, giving back to their communities through action and deed. Thank you for your contributions to Fraser and McKinley Barrier-Free Park. Presented to Steve and Tracy Lindenbaum and Linden Construction by Michael Carnegie, Mayor of Fraser, and the Fraser City Council on behalf of a grateful community. Thank you. I'll make sure they get this.
Next, we move on to the presentation. Item C. What do we have for that?
Sherry has it.
Mary?
That's Sherry.
Okay.
Poor
you.
Mary's like, wait, what did I miss?
Poor Mary.
Oh, poor Mary. Yeah, Mary's like, you threw her. Have something? Go with the flow, Mary. Go with the flow.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. On behalf of Keep Michigan Beautiful and the president of Fraser First Booster Club, I'm here to present the City of Fraser with the President's Award from Keep Michigan Beautiful. We were one of the five people that got this. This is the highest award that Keep Michigan Beautiful gives to people, to communities each year. We were up against, the Olaf Gardens in Detroit. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Belle Isle. It's gorgeous. The Fish Hatchery, the Sheboygan Restoration. Those are all the people that won this exact award. So I just want to come tonight and present this. This Keep Michigan Beautiful has been around for 59 years. So we went to Lansing and we accepted this on behalf of Fraser and Fraser First Booster Club for McKinley Barrier-Free Park, and I just wanted to present it to all of you tonight.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you for all your hard work.
When you compete against Detroit and Belial, you will, right?
It's beautiful though. Nice
Oh, I know.
Yes. On to item D, IT right proposal for Microsoft 365.
The proposal that you have before you is from our consultant, IT Right. This is to migrate our email system from Google Docs to Microsoft 365. It's a much more stable platform and a little more professional program, and a lot more capabilities are offered with this software. The cost that we have includes the cost for the labor and also the setup. This was something that was initiated by the previous finance IT director and is going to be charged to the account that I have there. It's in the amount of $15,120.
And this is not coming as a surprise. We knew this was coming all along, so,
Yeah, this was something that was budgeted and planned.
okay. Council, any questions?
I do. Just one question. Will they then transition all the email over
Yes.
seamless? They'll take care of all of it, so
That's
our.
what all of the labor charges are for, is for the installation, the migration, any setup issues that we may have to be able to cover all of that.
Perfect, then I'll make a motion to approve the IT Right proposal for the conversion to Microsoft 365 as set forth in the packet.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and then we have Mr. Lessig.
Yes, I just had a couple questions. The $48 per unit for 90, is that an annual or is that a monthly price?
I believe that that is annual.
Okay. And this is just for the email portion of it. We already have Microsoft products.
Actually, it's Microsoft 365, which is kind of all-encompassing.
Okay, so it is the full Microsoft, including Word, Excel. Okay, that's what I wondered. All right, thank you.
All right, any more questions? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Move on to DPW staffing request for part-time seasonal laborer.
This is just a request to fill a vacancy that is for the seasonal laborer in the Department of Public Works. We had someone that recently left the position, and it leaves us with a shortfall for our seasonal position. This is something that will be paid $15 an hour, up to 29 hours per week. This person is someone that will be helping with some of the cleaning, the parks maintenance, and also leaf pickup, and in the future, we'll be doing some of the snow blowing. You may recall from our last meeting that we approved a purchase of a UTV. We won't have that probably until spring, so this person will still be doing a push blower.
Okay, Councilwoman Baranski.
I'd like to make two motions. The first motion is to approve the hiring of a part-time seasonal laborer with the terms as outlined by Ms.
Second.
Levin.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Councilwoman Blanky.
Thank you. Elaine, I think this is, well worth the help and the parks. I'm familiar with that, as we all are. But just keep in mind, as we pass this, we're adding additional help, even though it's part-time. I for one, I don't like to hear about no leaf pickup and any kind of a service being watered down or whatever at another time. We're compromising. I know it's not the whole package, but at least just keep it in mind, pretty please, okay? Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a second motion just for logistic purposes. With regard to the part-time seasonal laborers in the DPW department, I would like to make a motion that if there is a vacancy within those positions, that they not come before council and instead be authorized to replace those, not add new, but replace existing positions until such time as Amy Sell can complete with Mr. Ragsdale the overall assessment of the department in terms of staffing needs, so that they don't have to have a delay in replacing these hourly workers that unfortunately, or fortunately for them, find full-time employment.
I have a question on your motion. Is it just for DPW?
Yes, because I believe that's the only department that has part-time seasonal
I mean,
laborers.
is your motion?
Yes,
in regard to
yes.
Replacing people just for?
Just, and just
Want to make sure.
part-time seasonal laborers. This would not allow them to replace if a full-time position became vacant, they would have to come before council. This is simply so that logistically, he doesn't have to wait a month to then advertise, because I think this person quit like the next day or something like that, so it's more,
Second.
Yep, second is right.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions from council? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item F, 7F, special meeting, November 15th, 2021.
It appears to be customary in the past that there's been a special meeting set up for swearing in of the new elected officials at a special meeting. And I'm looking to schedule that date for Monday, November 15th at 6:30 PM.
Does that work for you guys?
I'll make
You're
a
here.
kind of important.
I'll make a motion to, that we set up a special meeting for November 15th to swear in new officials for the city of Fraser,
At 6:30? I'll second.
6:30.
We have a motion and a second. Any further comments by council? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Suzanne did.
That's right, okay.
I did.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 8A, Public Safety Director vacancy.
So where we last left this on the agenda was, we had a motion to appoint Lieutenant Bisbee as the Director of Public Safety. We put together an offer letter with the help of HR and our attorney. The offer letter went out. The request that I received from Lieutenant Bisbee was for an extension to January 10th. And right now, we are in a position where the offer letter is past the deadline and looking for some type of extension for Lieutenant Bisbee to have a little bit more time to consider the offer.
Okay. What was the deadline?
October 27th was what we did with the offer letter. That was in line with all the other department heads, a 10-day. Little unusual circumstances here with someone that's a current employee and stepping from a union position to a director position that would be outside of the union. I understand that there are quite a few ramifications and things that he would need to consider before accepting any type of offer.
Okay.
So he has requested some additional time.
I'll start off with some comments. So we followed all the procedures according to Public Act 78. Almost a year ago that we stated that we would not put interims in position again. And so the test, I believe, was done sometime in September. And the commission at that point congratulated the lieutenant on passing that and potentially becoming the next chief. We didn't get that notice until later in September, so we took action in October to make the appointment effective immediately, and then the offer letter went out, and the deadline is passed. We're running we're running a business, and in business, I've never been given more than 24 to 48 hours to accept an offer, so I think we've been pretty generous with the time. And that's just my comments. Councilwoman Baranski?
Yes, so, not to repeat, but to, I guess, repeat. We've never had a director that was within the union. It hasn't existed. A year ago, August, the motion was made to have a director. and to stop the practice of interim. And I recall specifically Amy Sell repeatedly advising that businesses running with interim are not good practice. It's not good for morale of the employees. It's not good for clear direction. We have seen that unfortunately, when we have interims, they, it's not personal, but they are conflicted because they have union protections that when we're negotiating and they're sitting on this side of the table with us, they benefit from on the other side. And that has resulted in unfortunate circumstances for the city. And we have things we can't do until we fill this position. We can't make other promotions within the ranks because we don't want to limit someone else from testing. Public Act 78 controls all of this, and that's been clear for a year. And I certainly don't want to delay the promotions that we can't do. These people may have the right to them, but I'm not going to take that away from them. I don't want to not stop Elaine from being able to do the business that needs to be done for the city. We want HR to do an assessment of the police department, just as the DPW department, just as she's done with elections and finance, all of which needs a director so that we know where the pieces fit. That being said, this is a unique situation because it is asking for someone to come out of the union, who has been in the union for 20-plus years. I don't know exactly, but over 20 years. I don't know how close he is. And he put in for this promotion. He tested in July. The results were advertised, not to us, unofficially in August. Unfortunately, we would have made this appointment in September, but they weren't certified, and I certainly don't want to do something if the rules aren't there. I don't want to jam anyone, but this isn't personal, this is a business. I've never had 2.5 months or 3 months or however long it is to decide if I want to have a position. It's not to accept it or start it, it's to decide if I want it. So I never imagined when I made the motion that I needed to have a deadline for when it would be accepted, because when I put in for something and I get it, I take it. But that being said, I also don't want to miss an opportunity to allow Lieutenant Bisbee to accept this position, because the deadline as set by the city, per our standard protocols, has now passed. So I would like to make a motion to allow a firm and final extension to 4 p.m. Friday, November 12th, 2021, for Lieutenant Bisbee to submit a written acceptance of the position of Director of Public Safety for the City of Fraser, with the terms of employment being set forth in the October 14th, 2021 motion and the October 20th, 2021 memo setting forth the terms of employment from the city manager to Lieutenant Bisbee. If the written acceptance of the promotion is not received by 4 p.m. Friday, 11/12/21, the city will then consider the promotion declined or rejected, and the city will then immediately proceed pursuant to Public Act 78 to test the sergeants for the director position to be filled as soon as possible. That's my motion.
Okay, second. Councilwoman Kalka?
Thank you. So I made that motion back last August, actually, of 2020. And it has taken an awful long time to get to where we're at today. And I agree, I don't want to, this should have been done 6 months ago. So I agree with that. I think everyone kind of knows where they stand as it relates to the public safety department and the directors and whatnot, and whether they will. And I know, I understand it's a big leap from being in the union and having union protection, but, unfortunately, the job of director requires an independent, objective evaluation, and it is a conflict of interest if you are in the union and you're trying to be the director at the same time. It's the truth, unfortunately, but it's the truth. So I agree. I think that we need to, like I said, this should have been done 6 months ago, so those are my thoughts.
Okay. Councilman Lassich?
Yes, thank you. Just a couple of quick points of clarification. A year ago, when this first came out, the decision or the motion was made to go out for a permanent public safety director. and we were not aware of the ramifications or the Act 78 issues that arose after the fact. So the motion tonight is not the same, and the motion last month was not the same motion as that was made in August of 2020. So once Act 78 became clear that that controls this process, that delayed things quite a bit. So I guess it's clear what the goal is, and I leave here tonight. So this decision will, whatever decision will be made tonight will be the problem of the next council. But I would like to just make clear that Act 78, the Civil Service Commission for Police and Fire Protection, I think that's what it's called, something to that effect, protects our civil servants that work in police and fire from acts that can be considered political or favoritism towards certain, or acts that may not be favorable to employees. So that was the role of this act when it was enacted back in the early 1900s. And it is part of our charter. It is not part of an ordinance or anything else like that. So it is a controlling part of our government. And it's in our collective bargaining agreements. I believe it needs to be followed. And just to be clear, if Mr. Bisbee or Lieutenant Bisbee turns the offer down, we now go to another employee within the city, and they would have to leave the union too. So I'm going to vote no on setting a firm deadline because I think Friday's a little bit too soon, because this is a huge decision for Lieutenant Bisbee. He needs to leave the union short of his full retirement date, and then he would be a somewhat, I believe Mr. Denault referred to it as somewhat an at-will employee, because he would still be under some protections. But it is a big change in his life, and I think that he needs to explore that a bit more, if he so desires. So just wanted to make clear that when the motion in August of 2020 was nothing like the motion that was made last month, because last month's motion, we were all clearly, we have a clear understanding that Act 78 certainly applies here and certainly controls this situation. So that's all I have to say. I appreciate Mr. Bisbee's, or Lieutenant Bisbee's, service, and would love to see him in this role. But we do have collective bargaining agreements, and we need to follow them and be fair to all employees. Thank you.
Councilwoman Blanky.
Thank you. Well, if we're going to talk history, and we're going to talk about precedents, and we're going to talk transparency, I've known you, Lieutenant, since the day you were hired in here. And just so the residents know, this Act 78 has been on the books forever. It was a contract negotiation by the command officers and by the city. It states that we cannot promote to a police chief from within the ranks unless we go through the process of everyone that's already in our employ. However, that process, for whatever reason, and I know that Mr. Denault is sitting here and he's been through it also, he knows the history, the correct history of this, is that we hired 2 police chiefs in the process of the city's history within the last 25 to 30 years that came from Detroit. So they weren't working for us at the time. Now, there's no way to speculate, assume, or pretend you know the answer to that, because we don't, correct? Mr. Denault, right? Okay. That being said, what we have attempted to do as a council, most of us up here have thought that this kind of thing was going on. This doesn't mean anything good, bad, or we're judging anybody. It has nothing to do with the employees or anyone, but this kind of thing went on. So when this crossed our paths, we decided to do the heavy lifting on it, and that's exactly what we're doing. This is what this is. This is just using the contract negotiations, the history of the city, the stability of that charter, and putting it all together. This is nothing more than that. We already had our map drawn out on how this had to be completed in this hiring of this position. Also, I think it's important that to state that Lieutenant Bisbee has served the city well for his protection and for his ability to do his job well since the time he took over the position from Michael Pettis. He had received a retroactive pay. Is that correct, Lieutenant Bisbee? Partial. Okay. We have worked with this since September, and then I even heard a date to extend to January, I believe. That was originally possibly where this may go. Elaine?
That was his request, was originally.
A request. Okay, so again, you go September to January, that's practically 4 months. Everything aside, personal life, tragedies, confusion, decisions, whatever, that's what it is. It's a journey of life. So I am in total agreement, so we can move on to the rest of the people that, work in that department, those that are going to apply if you do not take this position. But we did offer it to you, and I don't even know if you wanted it or, there was no, I remember sitting here, and for whatever reason, I can understand since the last two directors had interim after their name, that this came to a screeching halt for you. So I don't know what your intention is, and I don't know, what the decision will be made. But I just want everyone to understand this is what it is. It's a business process. So thank you, Dave, for answering my questions, and thank you for the time.
Councilwoman Bransky.
Just to answer, I think the question, I think this is exactly what the motion was in August, which was to go out and obtain a director. If you want to define go out as outside of the city, so be it. To me, it was a direction to get a director. That's how I took it. I believe there was even conversation about whether interim director Pettis would put in for it or not. I think that a lot of people, including myself, weren't aware of the rules. It sounds like the rules were sometimes followed and sometimes weren't, but the rules have been followed from the day the motion was made. This is not a surprise to anyone. Everyone that tested for this knew what this would require. We're running a business. It is not personal. I hope from the bottom of my heart that Lieutenant Bisbee accepts this position. I was thrilled to be able to make it last month. I was disappointed we couldn't make it in September, and I was pushing to have Elaine have the Civil Service Commission meet so that those results could be certified. And this is not a personal, this is a business at the end of the day. And we've been running it like a business for the 2 years I've been on council, and I am proud to continue running a business like a business.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from council? I too sincerely hope that, Dave, you do take the position. But I also, in my heart, I believe that we've followed all the rules and followed all the acts and gave sufficient time. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
We have one opposed. Motion carries.
Yeah, but you have a question.
Okay.
Elaine, though, I thought when we made the motion last month, the retro pay was supposed
I'm
to
going to take care of that right now.
Oh, okay, I was going to say, okay, I just wanted to make sure, because I thought we made the motion that that was supposed to be taken care of, so that was newsflash.
No.
Okay.
Has it been taken care of?
I'm going to address it right now.
She's going to address it right now.
Pardon me?
Yep.
We have a part two.
So
What does that mean?
Amy's doing a motion, I think. I don't know.
Councilwoman Baranski.
Okay, so last month, when I made the motion to extend the promotion and thought it was going to be effective immediately and presumed it was going to be accepted, that is why I put the qualifier for the retroactive wage to to be only up through the date of the promotion, because as of, what would that have been, October 15th, he would have then collected the director's pay. In light of the fact that we have, do not have resolution on that and now have until Friday at 4 p.m., I want to make a motion to pay Lieutenant Bisbee from October 14th, 2021, until the director position is accepted and filled, so that there is no lack of clarity, for the duties he's carrying out as the highest-ranking officer in the city pursuant to the lieutenant's contract.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion.
Thanks for
and a-
letting me explain it.
Not a problem, I was just like, okay.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And now, I guess I have a bit of housekeeping. So, to me, being an attorney, I like things in writing. And is this something that, since you've given the offer consistent with how HR does the offers, is this something that tomorrow you could reduce to writing, probably with the assistance of counsel, so that there is a clear paper trail that we did in fact extend the acceptance date until Friday with the terms? Does that make sense, what I'm asking?
I'm not 100% sure with Ryan or Don, their time frame and when they would be able to review something that I could prepare.
Could we try to get it out?
They would be able to get to it.
Could we pull a little favor to make sure our paper trail is always, lawyer, like, I don't want anyone to ever say he couldn't take it because he didn't take it. And if he decides, hopefully, to take it, because technically, the paper trail as it exists, we could argue that. So I'm hoping Don will give us a half hour of your time. I don't think it'll take long. Thank you.
All righty. Item 8B, library property transfer update. I believe you're up, Mr. Denault.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. I prepared for all of you a thorough memorandum explaining all of the documents that we have been hard at work on with the lawyer who is assisting the library board. Any real estate transaction, of course, can be complicated, and this one more so than others just because the library property includes a cemetery that is under city ownership. So I think I've probably bored all of you enough in the past with all of those little details. This memorandum that I prepared instead gets into the terms that are being proposed for this transfer. Before we go too far on that subject, I have spoken with the lawyer today by email late in the day because he's been out with a cold or something most of the day. He said it's not COVID, but he hasn't felt, he's been a little under the weather today. He indicated that the library board did meet and talk about the exact thing that's in front of you tonight. They looked at it last night, and they decided to give themselves more time to digest it and understand it, and they don't meet in December, so their next meeting will be in January. There will be a few operational issues in terms of if they need any improvements or repairs done, if they have any heating or cooling issues during the winter, but nothing insurmountable. With that, the attorney, I told him, I said, do you want me to advise counsel then to maybe just hold off, think about it, digest it some more? He said no, he doesn't think that's necessary. If counsel felt comfortable approving this tonight with any specific caveats, changes, or direction, he felt comfortable that that would be great because then the library board would know at their January meeting that council had approved or blessed it in whatever terms that may look like, so that they can then approve it and we can get it moving forward faster. I don't know their meeting date in January, so I'm guessing just like this one, it's going to be really close to council meeting night. So if council were inclined tonight or even in December to approve this package of materials, then in January, the last step would be for them to approve it, or at least bring it back to us with anything they think we may have missed. If not, we can certainly postpone action because we don't have an approval from them, and we can look at that in January and see where their heads are at and if they have any changes for us before we go forward. But he's been in very direct communication with the director of the library. We don't expect any surprises. We don't expect any changes. I think it's just a matter of them wrapping their minds around it because it is such a big package of materials with, the purchase agreement and the easement and all the drawings, and they just want to really understand it. So I'll leave that at that point without getting into too much minutia, and certainly take any questions or direction that council may have this evening.
Okay, back to council. Councilwoman Kalka?
Thank you. Don, I have a question about the roof repairs. Do we have any idea what that's going to cost?
None has been discussed with me, nor do I know that they've even achieved an estimate at this point on the roof.
Because if I understand the information contained in there, there's a chance that the city's going to have to fork over the money and they're going to pay us back. And that makes me very nervous if I don't know what we're talking about.
Of course, and the contract is written in a way where the city has the ability to create what's called an improvements budget and decide what it's going to cost. So in other words, we're not at the whim or subject to the mercy of the library to say, oh, you know what, we've chosen the option where the city pays for everything up front and we'll pay it back later. We're not at their mercy with the way we have this worded. We have the ability to create and approve that budget and then move forward with it knowing we're going to be paid back out of library funds.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Lesich?
Yes, essentially, this is the deal we've been talking about for a long time. It's sell the library to the library building to the library for $1. And the library building was given to the city by St. John's for the sole purpose of being a library back in the day. Is that essentially the main points of how we came to own this building and why we came to own this building?
That's my understanding of the history, yes.
And the transfer would be from this point forward, if we were to approve this, from this point forward, the library building would be their responsibility within the guidelines you've clarified on the expenditures that may be larger than they can easily absorb immediately.
Correct. The building and the site, other than the cemetery site and the right for the city to use their property for easement purposes to maintain and access the cemetery, including any visitors that may wish to access it. That would be a broader description. We're not just turning everything over to the library. There's that carve-out will occur so that the cemetery is preserved as ours, primarily because library boards can't own cemeteries. It's a very unique state law that allows library boards just to own library stuff, nothing else.
And then I did notice there was a reverter clause that if the library should choose to move its location, the City of Fraser, would receive the building back.
Yes, either move or for some reason just cease to be a library. We would get the property back because it is a taxpayer building and asset of the community. So we would get it back in whatever condition it's left in at that time, whether it's 5 years or 50 into the future.
Okay, in that case, I would like to make a motion to approve the real estate purchase agreement as presented and subject to insertion of necessary dates and any final ministerial corrections approved by the city attorney.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? We have questions from Councilwoman Shornack.
Hey, Don, so on the reverter clause, so that second reverter, when it says the library board does not complete them, like improvements, so like the whole sentence, if the city did not perform the required improvements prior to the transfer, and the library board does not complete them within 3 years thereafter, the reverter can also trigger at the city's option. So here's my question. I'm going to assume, and maybe wrongfully so, that if for some reason and I don't ever think they would do this because I know most of them and they're very committed, but if for some reason they just said, oh, the heck with the building and kind of let it fall into disrepair, we have to wait 3 years to
retake it? Yes.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable with that. Not that I think any of these people would, but I don't know who's going to come aboard, years from now, right? So I'm just thinking in the future, because that could be like ridiculously costly if for some reason a board, and again, I'm not talking about this board in particular, but a board decided like, yeah, we've got other things we want to do with those funds and not keep the building up. I mean, not to point out the obvious, but we did, the whole Dairy Queen thing. That's where I'm going with this. I know there can't be one meeting where we don't mention that, but I'm just saying, well, you get my point on this. Like, I have unbelievably great reservations with a 3-year term. I would much prefer a year because I don't anticipate ever using it. I'm going to say that, but what I'm saying is I would prefer a year, not 3 years, because if it's something that needs to be repaired, and it needs to be repaired timely, otherwise it's going to cause extenuating damage, I would hope they would come to the city and say, listen, like they're doing with the roof, like, hey, you know what? Can you front the money? We'll pay you back accordingly, so on and so forth. But we don't know. And I am absolutely not comfortable with 3 years.
If it puts you more at ease, I completely understand and agree with everything you said, but if it puts you more at ease, that clause is simply limited to the things that are agreed upon that need to be done now. It isn't that something new comes up in a year from now or a year and a half from now that we didn't already document, we didn't already handle as part of this agreement. It's the required improvements is a defined term that the two sides are going to agree on what those are. So if something new happens, that's completely the library's responsibility, but it's beyond, we don't get the building back. It's on them. They have to take care of it with their money, their budget, their funds, and if they don't, and they cease to be a library because suddenly the place isn't inhabitable anymore, that's when the next reverter clause kicks in and we
Okay,
get the
but
building back.
that's my point.
And so we get it, so then to your point, we get it back, and maybe we get it back in a condition that isn't very usable or that's very expensive, but it's not a library anymore. So it's just an asset we can sell for whatever the value of it is on the open market.
But that's exactly my point.
Okay?
I don't want to lose value in a building because it was, the upkeep was not done. And again, absolutely no reflection on the board we currently have or possibly any boards moving forward. I just would rather have all the Ts crossed and all the Is dotted, that if for any reason, obviously, besides the ones pre-discussed, if the building were ever to fall in any kind of major disrepair, we have the right to take it back because we don't want the asset to be depleted, because that's what exactly would happen. That's my thought process.
And it still makes sense. Obviously, if it gets to that point of being in such disrepair that we get it back, then it's probably too late. We've kind of defeated the purpose of your concern because we're getting it back in a bad condition on an automatic reverter clause, as opposed to letting them have more time to fix it. So it's sort of a, catch-22.
That's what I'm saying. We're damned if we do and damned if we don't. But I don't know. I have reservations about that because we've already gotten our foot caught in the door with one thing, and I just don't want to it happen again.
I have nothing more than I can say to that. It's certainly council's wish. The 3 years was something that we came up with as a sort of a mutual agreement, just because it seemed like enough time to get projects done. But if council wishes to change that to something different, that's what we'll submit.
Councilwoman Baranski?
2 questions. One, when, and maybe it's in, so we just got this packet tonight, and I know you sent us something yesterday, and I just did not have time to read it. So I'm going to vote no because I cannot in good conscience vote for a contract that I haven't reviewed. I can't do it as a citizen, I can't do it as a council person, and I can't do it as a lawyer. I want to commend you for picking out something that all good lawyers would pick out, so good job.
Thanks.
Is in here the terms for which we would get reverter, the repairs, where's that at? Is that in here?
In the actual contract, yes, I think.
Okay, so it's somewhere, it's laid out what specific, okay. So that's just my position, and I hate, because I want to get this done, and I know that it has been a work in progress, and I was excited to do it, but unfortunately, it goes against everything in my core, and so I just can't support it today. But I'm 100% in favor of doing it next meeting. We don't have to wait for the library to approve it to do it, but that's just my personal position. I just did not have time to review it in the detail I would like to review it in.
Councilman Lesich?
Yeah, I believe my motion didn't have a second, so I withdraw it. Thank you.
So in this case, do we call it a postponement till next meeting, or?
Sure, yeah, Mr. Lesich is correct. I didn't think I heard a second either, so it just dies for lack of support, meaning we don't have a motion before you. So anyone is free to make a motion as to a time frame, whether it's to be postponed as an agenda item to next month or the following. We go from there.
Councilwoman Shornack?
I will make a motion to postpone this till next month's agenda,
Second.
regular meeting, I should, yeah.
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
I,
Any opposed? Motion carries. So this will be December.
To all of you, if independently you have concerns like Ms. Shornack does about any particular provision, please forward that along to me. I'm happy to at least vet it for you before the December meeting.
Can you just point out where the repairs list is, since that's kind of?
There is no list yet. The idea is that the agreement between the parties is to create that list together.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Yes.
So
Oh, I'm
it's-
sorry, yes.
Right, because how do I, if I agree to be bound by a list, but I don't know what the list is or who's putting the list together?
Right.
I mean, who is putting the list together?
It would be entrusting administration to work with the library on collaboratively in terms of identifying, evaluating, and concluding which repairs need to be done and who's doing them.
Yeah, that-
Can we have that list, though, before we vote,
well,
please?
Try, yeah. We can work with the library to get that.
yeah, I would like to at least have the shell of the list, because no disrespect to you, my wonderful city manager, but if I'm binding the city, I want to know what I'm binding us for, yeah. So, thank you.
Councilwoman Blanky?
Well, I think if I comprehended correctly, Don, what you said in the beginning, they weren't that sure themselves either, and they wanted to have a little more time. You know, we could have approved it, but they were kind of shaky with certain things also. So I think this is a great way to end this till next month or January. What a community event, right? Everybody agrees, right? Yeah.
I agree with you, Ms. Blanky. I think they're probably looking at it in terms of much the same question, trying to identify what they need done and whether they have the funds to do it themselves, whether they're going to rely on the city for any kind of assistance. You know, that's, I'm sure, their goal as well.
Right.
Because we're not looking to screw them over, and they're not looking to screw us over.
Perfect.
But lawyers are involved, so T's get crossed and I's get dotted. At an hourly rate. Couldn't resist, sorry.
All right, so we'll move on to item 8C, smoking at senior housing update.
When last we met, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, we talked about putting an ordinance together. I am still working on that for you, so I'd like to bring that to you in December if I could.
Okay, we don't need to make a motion to do that.
Well, just to maybe keep it on the agenda of next month. I don't know if that's a motion or just the whims of the mayor or the council, but just to keep it as a continuing, returning item of business.
Right.
Maybe that's fine.
Okay. Item 9, report of city administration.
Well, last Monday, our Assistant City Manager, Sarah Mistrata, started. She actually helped work on getting the Senior Activity Center open this past Monday. We had a couple of employees, part-time employees, working over there, and I think there were about 40 people that showed up for our low-key opening. We aren't really doing any type of events or anything at this point in time. It's more so a drop-in thing. I know that they've been kind of actively talking to the people that did show up to kind of see what activities they're interested in and working on moving forward with that. Is going to be limited days and times. Right now, we're looking at Monday through Thursday from, I believe, 8 to 1 o'clock. The communications associate, Asma Josha, has started already. She's kind of started doing a preliminary review of our website and looking for things like broken links and missing or outdated documents and starting to update some of that. I have forwarded some information to her to start getting information on there. She's not only going to be doing the website, but also the cable station and Facebook. The election, fortunately, went very smoothly, and it was certified by the county yesterday, so everything was perfect, and congratulations to Cindy and her team and our wonderful helpers from Macomb Township that were able to really get the ball rolling and things ready for her. And definitely a special help from Mary over there. She's been good throughout the whole process and really helped Cindy out quite a bit with the elections. We've had some staffing issues in our office with COVID, and unfortunately, it's going to be, I think, a continuing problem throughout the winter. Numbers are not looking very favorable. They're all up and skyrocketing, and we're just hoping that people will be mindful of that things are going to take longer with staff, some working remotely because they're in quarantine, or some staff even being out sick. Things are definitely going to take a little bit more time. The leak, or the issue that we had at the mobile station with the leak from the fuel tank, we have had Eagle, Lara, and the Macomb County Drain Commission out on site. The Macomb County Drain Commission did put booms in the Harrington drain to help catch any fluids. The Eagle is dealing with all of the remediation for the project and any of the cleanup that they're going to have to do. That also includes some of the cleanup with the storm drain. Mobile is going to be completely responsible for that. There will be no cost to the city, and it is something that is a work in progress. The park signs, the DPW superintendent took over that project when Vince left. He has been reviewing the files and taking a look at the quotes, and I think some of the issues that he's dealing with are just trying to get all of the information together. And then he's having some difficulty getting quotes from contractors, so he's been putting out calls, and they're not returning calls. Nobody's getting back to him for information regarding the signs. It's something that he's continuing to work on and try and get an answer and get it back on the agenda so that everybody can take a look at it. There are also supply chain issues that we're going to be dealing with for signage, and obviously increased costs. Everything's more expensive now. So he's trying to be diligent and finding a good product that's going to work for us, that's going to last and not have to be constantly replaced or repaired or repainted. The auditors are going to be in the office next week. Carrie and Sarah have been spending a lot of time getting things ready for that. Also, John Walters has been helping as well. I think we have things in pretty good order, so they'll be in the office all of next week, taking a look at some of our systems and going through the process that they go through. 14 Mile Road, we unfortunately have received a lot of nasty calls from residents and people that pass through the community. I don't think that they fully understand that this is not a city project. This is actually something that is a consumer's gas project, and their permits are with the county road commission. This is something that there have been a lot of issues ongoing with weather that has stalled things for the concrete work that they're doing over by the railroad tracks. It is no fault of their own that this has been taking a little bit longer than planned. I know a lot of people have commented that they thought that the road was going to be open on the 8th. I think we all were hopeful, and it's not just the residents, it's also us working here in this building. It is a main connecting point for people to get to this building. So we know, we share your frustrations, and certainly we are hopeful that within, I believe, the end of the week, they're hoping to be able to get it open. But like I said, it's all subject to consumers' power, the concrete, the weather, the county, and getting all of the proper permits in place so that they can get things open. Fruhoff, the contractor, is working on some final issues with the paving project there. I know that there was one resident that had an issue with drainage on his driveway. That is something that the engineer is working with the contractor on getting corrected. So hopefully we'll be able to close that out either this week or next week. I know we've got some rain coming, so it may be something that is going to be a little bit delayed on that, but we are certainly doing the best we can to get that taken care of. Meadows Pavilion should be in hopefully sometime next week. I think they are going to be looking at putting the pavilion in and then pouring the concrete hopefully sometime this week, but I think with the rain coming Thursday, Friday, it's probably going to be delayed until next week. Looks good. As a reminder, Veterans Day is Thursday. Our office will be closed, so I just wanted to remind everyone of that. And then one other thing that I just wanted to talk a little bit about is the ARPA funding. So this is the American Rescue Plan Act. As I have mentioned in the past, we have approximately $1.5 million that we will be getting from the federal government. We've already received our first payment, which is half of that funding. Currently, the extension that they have for putting together any type of plan for spending this money is through to the end of April. There have been quite a few projects that we have been talking about within our office that I just wanted to share with you as potential options for this. The Masonic Road Storm Pumping Station Retention Pond. I know that Ragsdale has pretty much been talking about this since he's been here, that it's in such a state of disrepair that it doesn't have the capacity to be able to hold a lot of storm water. So unfortunately, the storm water flows into the roads. This project is something that estimated cost would be somewhere around $1 million to dredge the retention pond and do some of the work. There are also pumps there for the pumping station. An estimate of those to be repaired or possibly replaced is somewhere between $300,000 and $500,000. One of the other projects that could be considered for the ARPA funding is the City Hall HVAC system. We've been talking about that, and I think everybody kind of knows the problems that we've experienced here in
Done.
office. Done. Wait until you hear the price tag. So
I don't care.
we have a lot of issues with humidity control, hot pockets and cold pockets throughout the office, loud fans, some dampers and vents that aren't connected and should be connected. We have had a firm that came out, took a look at everything. They're still working on kind of some final numbers, and I think Ragsdale is working to try and put together some bid documents for it. Estimates, if we go with everything, probably around 500,000. So this would be new units and replacing and redoing everything to really make it work. The main reason that this works with the COVID money is because it's all about clean air and making sure that you have good circulating air. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll push my button, but I have a question. Can we have that in blood, that it will work? Like blood writing, I am not kidding you. They spent a fortune on this. Michael and I were here for this HVAC system, and it's been a disaster since they put it in.
Unfortunately, you can never make everyone happy, and with all the different spaces that we have, we have offices, we have large open spaces. It's never something I think that's going to be perfect, but I think if you have a well-engineered system, it will at least be better than what we have, and hopefully quieter, because I know that the fan here can get very noisy and distracting when we've got our meetings here.
The cold air that blows down on you,
Yeah,
pushes you out.
Goes from the Sahara to the igloo to icebergs, all in like 5-minute
Teeth are
rounds.
chattering.
One other potential project that we've talked about is the southeast corner around Venetian Woods area, doing some water main replacement work to the tune of about 1.5 million. That's not necessarily the best use for the ARPA funds, because we do have our enterprise water fund that we could utilize that for those repairs. So between the City Hall HVAC and the retention pond, we could more than cover the 1.5 million. That, I think, is pretty much it that I have for a summary for where we are with that right now.
Could I just ask about that?
Councilman Ransky, yeah.
Could the water fund be used for the Masonic Road pumping station, or no?
It's stormwater, and our water fund is for the water and sewer, so I don't believe so.
Okay.
I know that Ragsdale has talked about, we don't have any type of funding mechanism for any type of stormwater infrastructure needs.
Okay.
I know a lot of communities have kind of recognized this now, and a lot of communities are going to another fee to help cover future costs for stormwater. So we have all the catch basins. You have catch basins that start sinking. There are costs involved with that, and this is just more of our aging infrastructure that we really have no good funding mechanism for.
That was my only question about the ARPA, but I had a couple other questions for her. Do you want me to do those now? Were you done with your report?
I'm done with my report.
It was long. Thank you. It was awesome.
It was awesome.
Thank you for giving it to us in literally breakneck speed. You had mentioned in the past that you were working on the possibility of doing some sort of a Christmas or holiday, something on December 4th. Where are we at with that, and
Correct.
lighting the city hall, and what's your plan in that regard?
So I started working with Hunter before Sarah came on to kind of brainstorm some of the ideas based upon previous things that have been done for Christmas in July. And right now, we're kind of looking at some options that we have for vendors to come in and do a similar type event. Sarah has since taken the helm at that. Hunter has been working with contractors and trying to line up some things. So I think that we should hopefully have something this week, kind of a save the date type thing coming out soon.
Excellent.
Be on the lookout for that.
Perfect. And then, because I see her in the audience, it might be a good time to introduce the public to our new, I don't know what her official title is, but if she wants to come up and, if you want to introduce our senior, I don't know what her.
Coordinator?
what's
Isn't it
her-
coordinator?
What's her title? I don't,
Senior coordinator, I believe.
come on up.
Yes, come on up, Shelley.
This has been a long process. We have,
Yeah.
in the summer, we put out for this, so.
Yes.
Welcome.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're still working on finalizing some of the terms for it. Even before her official starting day, she was at the senior center for our opening on Monday and really helping out a lot. And I think she's got a lot of great ideas for events and things that we can do with the seniors over at the Senior Activities Center. She's really reached out and jumped right in, looking to see what kind of potential things they want to do over there. And I don't know if there's anything else that you want to add, Shelley?
No, thank you. That's exactly what, it was a great turnout. We had at least 40 people that have signed up for interests that we wanted to discuss. Probably the best thing that happened that day, everyone was sitting down. I threw out cards at the tables. I started puzzles on a couple of tables. I put out Rummy Cube on a table. And as people were coming in, they would kind of sit down to start with conversation and then move on to something else. By the end of the day, I had 4 people at one table playing Rummy Cube that didn't even know each other when they walked in that day. They had.
And you haven't even started yet.
That was volunteer. Exactly. But no, it was a wonderful day. Everybody was so excited to come and just,
Yay.
like you had said on site, it's meet new friends, find old friends, and that's really what it was like. So that was the biggest accomplishment of my day, was to see the people interact with each other, people that didn't know each other, spending that kind of time together, moving from puzzle to game to cards, and it was wonderful. Thank you. It was a great opportunity. I can't wait to get started with more.
We've kind of been doing a slow, soft opening because we still have quite a few issues we're still working on, getting computers up and running over there, getting a cleaning contractor, which is proving to be rather difficult, especially cleaning the restrooms on a regular basis. So we're starting slow, but we at least have those doors open and are letting people know that we're open for business over there.
Who cleaned it before?
That was
DPW?
Kelly.
Oh, Kelly did
for
that?
Senior housing, but she's maxed out on her part-time hours over there.
Is it something maybe in the short term we can have temporary DPW workers do? I get that you need it regular. I don't know. I'm just,
I've talked to
You're on it.
Dale about that. Yeah.
okay, you're on it.
We'll get it sorted out.
Perfect. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yep.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Councilwoman Shornack.
Piggybacking on the Christmas thing, just because somebody reached out to me, because like when we had like Christmas in a small town, I think that's what it was called. So like we had, a Santa and cookies and stuff like that. So, but there was always like a little dance troupe, and I think they're from, and my daughters went there too, and I can't
Elite?
think. Huh?
Was it Elite?
Encore?
Encore, that's it. So did she call you? Because I told her to call.
I received information and I forwarded that on to Sarah.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure, because she reached out to me about it, and I said, well, talk to them. I know they're thinking about doing something. I don't know where it is, but I just want to say, if there's anything I can help with, for years, I was the donut Nazi, because we were doing donuts first, and then we started cookies, and then I was the cookie person. So if you guys need help, I've helped with that many, 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 many years. So happy to help with that.
Thank you. I'll let Sarah know.
So, yeah.
All righty. Any other questions, comments from council? We'll move on to the report of mayor and city council. And we'll start with Councilwoman Baranski.
Awesome. Okay. Couple things. I know the mayor reached out to you, Elaine, but I told him that I would for sure put on, and I know you addressed this a little bit, I would love to use the December meeting to, besides the regular business that we have to do some housekeeping, some things that have been languishing. Let's try to make a focus on getting these things done. And I understand some of the hurdles that we're running into have nothing to do with lack of effort. But, the signs, the proposal, Mr. Denault, with regard to how the Parks and Rec Board and the communication, all of the different things that we've discussed that we haven't yet gotten a resolution on. I would love to see those on the agenda, and I know the mayor would like that as well, just so that we could start off, the new council members could see what is done, and then we could start off the new year with new ideas and new focuses while still doing business. I want to commend, I had the opportunity to meet Sarah on day 2, our new Assistant City Manager, Finance Director, and on day 2, she used the S word. And I heard her say it, and she was saying it in passing to Elaine, and I said, "Did you say the S word?" And she's like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Savings." Day 2, second day here, this was at 8 in the morning, she had already negotiated savings for the City of Fraser with regard to one of our vendors.
Awesome.
And that was so refreshing. So thank you to Sarah. I look forward to everything that she's going to bring to the table. And then finally, I just want to thank both Council Member Lesich and Council Member Kelka for committing to public service. It is a tough thing to do. I now know, 2 years in, I'm no longer going to be the new person next month, which I'm kind of sad about. But this isn't about me. This is about people willing to step up and make an effort to improve the city. And your efforts are appreciated. And I think that the city is better because of what you both have done. And I hope that you look back fondly on your time and just know that I appreciate both of you. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Councilman Lesich?
Yes, thank you very much. Well, I guess this is it. After 100-plus council meetings, at least, probably 400 hours in this, sitting in this uncomfortable chair in this chilly, hot room. But anyway, I'd like to start out by saying I saw Mayor Carnegie today. He says hello. He's recuperating, and he's coming along. So he's in a much better place than he was a few weeks ago. As I said, it's been 6 years. It has been a privilege to serve this city. 10% of my life has been spent as a representative of the city, and I'm proud to do so. When I started my political career, I was, 11 years old, and my mother made me haul Nixon propaganda around a little red wagon in Warren, and here I am today. So hopefully I've come a long way since then, and it's been an interesting journey. I would like to thank the residents that elected me to this position. It has been as I said, a privilege to serve. I've listened to a lot of you, hopefully answered a lot of your questions, and I've always tried to serve the city honorably. In the 6 years that I've been here, I've learned much about how a city runs, and I've found it very interesting to see that council pulls the big levers of government. We pass the budget, we hire people, we sometimes fire them, we sometimes make decisions that are unpopular. Well, we do that a lot. But we pull the big levers of government. But on a day-to-day basis, the employees of this city, the people that go out and fix our roads, police our streets, put out fires, handle accident scenes, do water bills, which is a passion of mine for some reason, and that handle accounts payable, HR, the person that sits in that corner office and has to handle all of the things and every day come in and say, what's going to go wrong today? So I'd like to say thank you to all of you out there if you're watching. This is, I really do appreciate everything you've taught me, and you make this city work. So I won't go on and on. This was going to be a 20-minute speech. I think I'll turn it into a 3-minute speech. Best wishes to the new elected officials, Dana Sutherland and Pat Odell, and to the Mayor Pro Tem on his reelection. I wish you all the best. I am returning to the cheap seats, as someone, a former mayor called them, and I like that term. I will be back there in the audience again, and you represent me starting on May 15th at about 7 o'clock. So I'll be watching. I'll be weighing in from time to time, and I will continue to support the city in any way I can. Thank you very much.
Councilwoman Shornack.
Well, first, because Veterans Day is on Thursday, I would like to thank all the men and women who have served this country honorably. Especially with what's going on these days, I just want everybody to remember, I know it's not a popular thing anymore, but agree to disagree. I think too many of our men and women have sacrificed their life for your ability to make your choices in your life. And nobody should tell you what your choices should or shouldn't be. So I commend all those who have served us in the capacity of willingness to give up their lives to support your right to choose, your right to vote for whom you want to vote for, and anything else that may come along in your life. With that being said, on a good note, the Goodfellas auction seemed to go very, very well. It was extremely well attended. It was very, very hard to find a parking spot. But don't forget, they will be having those papers for sale. I don't have the dates readily handy, but be looking for them because it's 3 days they normally sell the papers. Okay, I was going to say, like, the 19th was sticking in my head, but, so definitely get out there, support them all, because, again, they literally, we pay to be members of that group, and they are all about kids for Christmas, and honestly, this world needs some happiness and hope, and children are the happiness and hope, and we need to keep their spirits up, so get out there and support them, and a lot of people still aren't working. I don't really understand that because I know everybody's hiring, but to each their own. I know there is an open house, although she didn't call me surprisingly today, but open house for the Baumgardner Museum, and I know they will also be having their sale, their Christmas sale. So for that first weekend, Christmas, that first Sunday is typically when they'll do it. So again, get out and support them. They're a hardworking group too. And Suzanne and Michael, well, Michael, I've known you for a long time. We've sat on a couple of things together and stuff like that. And I just want to personally thank you guys for all your hard work and your service. I know that people don't always agree to disagree, but I truly do believe that you both brought a lot of value to this council and to our community. And I know your hearts were definitely in the right place for stepping up and serving our community. And I look forward to working with Patrick and Dana. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the party bus. You might want to exit stage left, but, you know, it depends on the day. But that being said, to all the people who volunteer in our community, you sometimes might not think you are noticed and you don't know, nobody, you know, sings your praises, but anybody who steps up and serves their community and serves people around them, I think you should be commended to, because in this world, too many times people want to look only inward and look at what they have and what they want out of life instead of looking around what they can help others get to and provide to make the community and other people's lives good. So I commend all those who volunteer. So that's it. Thank you.
All righty. Councilwoman Kalka.
Thank you. So when I started this journey, actually I started this journey when my daughter did the bottle drive. And I was very inspired by her and her big heart. So I, you know.
Hold the mic down.
Oh, is it too far away? Yeah. Sorry. So I was inspired by her and her big heart. And that kid, even to this day, 15 years old, is really, really coming into her own. And she just joined the Goodfellows last week. And she's going to be a very productive member of that organization now as well. So I have been very honored to be her mother because she's shown me so many things about public service. So I, wanted to make a difference and I wanted to make a change. At the time that I decided to run, our city was in a lot of turmoil, and I knew that with my strength I could make a difference. And so that's why I set out to do this. And I have been incredibly thankful for the opportunity that this city has given me to make a difference. I've never wavered from that. I won't ever waver from that because it always has to be objective, no matter what my personal feelings are. I want to thank our new administration, the newly department heads that we have just hired that have hit the ground running, that have really made a difference. To Mary, you haven't been here very long, but you have really come to the party, and you have stepped up, and you have, I think every single one of us up here have noticed the difference. And I want to thank Cynthia. You also haven't been here very long, but you also have stepped up to the table, and you have done a nice job. Mark Ragsdale, I can't say enough about him. We've had problems in every area of our city that needed attention. And the things that we have done, the people that we have hired, for the most part, it wasn't supposed to be perfect, obviously, but for the most part, have really made a huge impact and a huge change. And I commend all of you for working hard and really caring about our city to the extent that it really has truly made a difference. To our public safety department, when you were hijacked 4 years ago, I said I wasn't going to let that happen. And when PA 33 didn't pass, I didn't let that get in the way. We made sure that we stabilized that. My heart is with that. My heart is with the public safety department. It always has been. But I also have to look at this city like a business, right? So we have a lot of conflicting issues. We have a lot of cost-benefit analysis that we have to do in every aspect of our city. So the public safety department, I want to do everything I possibly can and would have done going forward to make that department run as efficiently as possible and to give our guys and gals the equipment and the services that they needed to do their job to the fullest extent of their ability and keep them safe, of course. I kind of lost my train of thought now. Look at me. Because I didn't even expect to go into this much detail, honestly. I'm so incredibly thankful for the support that this community has given me. I just have been incredibly overwhelmed with the support in the last, week. It's been amazing. I know that this was a very ugly campaign, but I didn't lie about one thing. I was very honest and true about everything, and I didn't manipulate facts. And you'll all find that out. If the city doesn't want me, I always said that would be okay, and it is okay. We've done so many things in the last 4 years that I know that this city is going to be okay. To my colleagues up here, thank you for working together for this city. Because it's always been about the city, not me. It's always been about the city. And I'm not upset that I'm leaving. I'm upset that this is coming to an end and us working so well together. That's what I'm upset about. But I know that you guys will do an excellent job going forward. Because one of the things I have been told on multiple occasions that this is the best council we've had in 20 years. And that people want change. Well, look about you. There's been so much change in the last 4 years. Where have you been? How do you not know it? So I appreciate the support from the community. I appreciate my colleagues up here. I appreciate our administration. And I'm going to go on my happy way. I got plans. I'll be in the audience as well, and I will. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be involved. Don't worry. Maybe I'll be back. Who knows? We got 4 seats coming up. 2 years, 4 seats. Anyway, thank you very much. No, I'm not running again.
No. Have at it.
Not after this last time. That was nonsense. My life is way too more important than that. Oh, wait, is this still on? I'm sorry. That nonsense.
Councilwoman Blanky.
Well, thank you, Suzanne, for, being a part of this. And Mike, I appreciated everything that we did together. And I do understand the feeling, Hey, Patrice and I are losers. We've lost.
I'm not a loser, though. I'm not a loser.
No,
It's all
okay, well, we
perspective.
are. We lost, whatever, but
Here.
Glutton's for punishment?
I guess.
I may have won the election, but I'm definitely not a loser.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, I may have lost the election, but that's okay.
You know what I mean.
I do know what you mean.
Okay. Well, Veterans Day is coming up, as Councilwoman Shornack mentioned. There's a ceremony at the VFW Post at Stephens Park at 11 o'clock. It's a beautiful ceremony, and if you have a flag that you need burned or taken care of in the right way, they will do that for you, and they have a nice little reception afterwards. Just, everybody talks about giving back to the community. They're selling bricks, the VFW, and I know that a lot of the people here that migrated from distances like Detroit and Warren and Roseville, when we came here to move, people were veterans from Vietnam. A lot of those people, I dare say, are here or their children. So that'd be a great Christmas gift for your dad or your uncle or your brother. They're selling bricks. They're trying to have a fundraiser for their roof over at the VFW Hall. So the best I could suggest is go to their website. I just wanted to comment on a couple things that the city manager said, and in everything that was said tonight. She used the phrase, "We're doing the best we can." And I think that's really an important phrase for everybody to hold on to. I don't think in this world, in this imperfect world, everybody expects the best of times all the time. So that's all we can ask, I guess, from each other. And I am appreciative right along with everyone else for everything. And I'm glad you mentioned the signs for the park, because I think we need to cut a little slack here on the signs, because we're going into winter. They're not going to be able to put the signs in anyhow, probably, if the ground, right, if the weather, and like you said, with the shipping and the backup and whatever. So just do the best you can. We get it. We know where the parks are, and we are going into winter. And my husband had a sign taken out of the park because it fell apart. So other than that, they all have signs. They're fine. So I wouldn't worry about that. And then finally, I'd like to say that, as previously mentioned, we're a close council. We've all been in touch with the mayor. I think we basically pushed them away from coming into the meeting with a little. They're the peers and they're the colleagues. I'm the great-grandma advice, so I thought it was unsafe. He had a very, very serious surgery. So I wanted you to know that we had to kind of fight with him to stay home tonight. He's very dedicated, as you well know. So that being said, have a great month. Thank you, and God love all of us. Good night.
One of the good things and one of the bad things about going last is that everything's already been said. So I want to echo all the sentiments up here. I also want to, again, congratulate our new administration on all the fantastic jobs that you guys are doing. Elaine, Cynthia, Mary, Mark Ragsdale, and Don, we're not going to forget you. Because you've gotten more done for this city legally than I remember the previous law firm. And I watched them for quite a few years, and you're always on top of it. You're always there willing to take our calls and give us very good objective advice, so.
You are our conscience.
Yep. So,
That's right.
Sometimes we try to brush you off.
That's right, but he comes back on this side.
and I want to thank everyone for reelecting me. That's a vote of confidence that is really heartfelt. Really heartfelt. So, also, I want to continue on with what Councilwoman Blanky was saying, but please continue to offer your prayers up for Mayor Carnegie for his continued recovery and hopefully a very complete recovery. And with any luck, we'll see him at the next meeting where we will be swearing in 2 new council people, and as well as myself. So with that, I'll give up, and we'll go to citizen participation. Oh, yeah.
Sherry Stein, 18387 East 13 Mile Road. First, I would like to thank Councilman Michael Lesich for serving the community and serving the people of the community. I'd also like to thank Councilwoman Susan Kalka for serving the community also. And then I would like to congratulate Councilman Winowicki, Patrick Odell, and Dana Sutherland for their election. I mean, they're on council, so thank you. Another thing, if you could have Sarah reach out to me about the Christmas in Fraser. Hunter did reach out to me and started talking to me, and I was giving her some ideas. And me and Fraser First Booster Club are going to do the cookies for Christmas in Fraser. I also have some other things. Did you guys reach out to the band, Mr. Rogers? Okay, if you could have just Sarah call me, I can help her with a couple things, because it's on their calendar to perform. So, yeah, and I know he would be obliged, so. Also, just to let you guys know, since we didn't have our dance last year, we are having our annual Blue Jean Ball on February 12th, so I'm totally excited about it. I've been working on donations already, so if anybody has any kind of baskets, gift certificates they would like to donate to our dance, please contact me at sherry.stein@fraserfirst.com. I mean, yeah. And that will be on February 12th, so it's our big celebration of McKinley, and thank all the donors and volunteers that have stuck with us and got this done. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? No.
Sorry. Also, just let you know, tickets will be available. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Follow the rules.
Follow the rules. It's not been 3 minutes. I had a little break. 5. Tickets will be on sale for the dance at the end of next week, probably. And there'll be all kinds of information on Facebook, Fraser First Booster Club, and McKinley, and then fraserfirst.com.
They make a great stocking stuffer.
They do.
Oh, what's the price? Is it still 40?
It's 40. No, it's 45 is lad. Same as the year before. It's 45. And the vintage house still.
2020 disappeared, Sherry.
I know. I thought it was last year too. I know. But it's still vintage house. Anthony's been amazing there, so I'd like to have it there.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Dana Sutherland, 31520 Schoolcraft. With the Thanksgiving holiday also approaching, I just wanted to say thank you to each of you for all of your support and reaching out with the recent election. I'm really excited to be a member of the council and part of the team, and just wanted to say thank you to all the residents that are listening at home on Zoom or in the audience for your vote and your confidence in me, and I look forward to working with all of you. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Any other residents?
Laura, you know you're becoming Mary, right?
Laura, excuse me, Laura Lesage, 15201 Fairview. I'm sitting in the cheap seat. I don't call this the cheap seat. I call this the very important seat, because this is the seat for the residents to come up here and voice their concerns to the council, to the city administration. So let me begin. I am channeling a long-term resident who passed away in 2012, Mary Buffa. She would come before council with her handwritten list of concerns, okay, just like this. I miss her because she would be right to the point. She would say what she needed to say, and people would listen. And that's what I would expect all of you and our city administration to do today, as every day, okay? I'm going to be very sad to have to fight my husband in this seat next month. Okay. You mentioned that you hired someone about the website. Thank you, because I sat there on that website today searching for this and that and the other thing, and I couldn't find it. I find that in the past, our directors of the department heads, I would say, were able to get on that website and put information out there themselves. And I would think, with all the new people that have been hired, they would have the skills to do the same. It should not always be up to one person to update and add information to that website. The website has to be more important than ever nowadays because not everybody has cable. Not everybody watches the roly-poly all day long and see what's going on in the city. They go to the website to find information, to find out who to talk to, who to call. I find that that website is missing so much information, and I hope it gets updated soon, but little things like who's on staff. You try to look in the staff directory, and you don't even get a name. You get a link to send an email or make a call, but you don't know who you're talking to. You don't know who's there. The Parks and Rec Department section is totally like a year and a half old. It is horrible. And we have open seats. We're going to have another one with Dana leaving. And not many people are stepping up to want to be on that commission. Maybe that's something Suzanne Kalka could join. That would be a good add to the community. You could step right in and get on Parks and Rec. You're all for the parks. Let's get it going. I believe that if nobody steps up and volunteers for that commission, the council can recommend people. So maybe you better start thinking about who you might want to recommend. Because a lot of people out there are disappointed that nothing's happening with the Parks and Rec. Senior activities, great. I'm all for it. I'm a senior. I enjoy activities. I think the pickleball place, that should be a big thing for the seniors to do. They love that. But how do we know, how is this getting out there that the senior center is even open? Did we put something out on the website to say, hey, come join us and be there? Is it on Facebook? Why isn't the Facebook sites updated? We haven't seen anything on the city website site since, I think, June of this past year was the last thing I saw there. I also believe that there's an opportunity for everybody to add things to that. So why not have a list of activities as you're trying to gather them out and post things in, or put it in the C&G even, to say, hey, Fraser Activity Center is open for the senior centers. Because not only did we cater to Fraser, we catered to the surrounding communities, and they always look forward to coming to our place for their activities. So please do that. I probably stepped off of my list here, but let me see what else I have. All right, you're timing me, okay.
Got a couple left.
I drove around this city the other day picking up campaign signs. You would not believe how many streets there are in this city and how long it took me, and I still was not done. But when you drive around the city, you get to see a lot of things, and the city needs help. Not only do we have a thoroughfare with people driving through on the main roads, they see a lot of things, and it looks like crap half the time. We need to clean it up. And shouldn't be put on the volunteers to clean it up. I commend Pam Pitts for going out there and trying to clean up areas around this city, especially around City Hall, the main part of our city. It shouldn't be up to her to do that. I love her to death. She does it all the time. But the city should be able to do that. That should be something the city does. There was, you mentioned the signs. I'm sorry. I don't think the signs being delayed should get a pass. We've been talking about this for over a year. Somerset and Pompo have been done for over a year and no signs. Blanky's sign is gone. You drive down there, you don't know what that is now. A stranger going down Mulvey don't know what that park is. There's no sign at Meadows, there's no sign at Somerset, there's no sign at Steffens, our main city park. Come on, people, this is not acceptable. And if you want to accept that, fine. We know it's not going to be until probably May you get a sign. McKinley has a sign since April. Didn't take us long to do it. And then there's the hydrant flushing signs right outside my door. Hydrant flushing this week. It's been out there for almost a month. I'm told it's probably done. Well, hey, if it's done, take the sign out. Why do we have to look at all these signs of hydrant flushing all over the city? Doesn't make it look like it's done. It's not. Finally,
I'm sorry, but we've exceeded the 5-minute rule that we have.
really?
Yep.
Fine. Thank you.
Give it to somebody else.
Any other residents with concerns? Mary, anybody online? Nope. All right. So we'll move on to, Councilwoman Baranski.
Oh, I was just going to make a motion to go into closed session for a strategy session connected with negotiations of a collective bargaining agreement with the Police Officers Association of Michigan.
Second.
However, may we take a 5-minute break?
Yes.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Roll call.
Oh, yeah, we have to
Opposed?
do roll call.
Roll call.
Oh, okay.
Because we're going on closed session.
Yes.
Like, am I blanky? Yes.
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 Yes. 5-minute break.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Go team.
Yes, I really.
at 8:37 PM. And Councilwoman Baranski.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the city manager to proceed as discussed in closed session.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye. A record. Good job. Thank you both. Thank you, and good luck with wherever life takes you.